Dude, sunflower seeds are so good. I mean, obviously I can't be chewing sunflower seeds while we're talking, but I just wanted, like, salt. I just wanted the salt taste.
Yeah.
I swear to God,
I don't
if you
like...
touch that microphone wire, I'm gonna punch you in the
Sorry.
jejunum.
I don't like the salt.
What?
The salty, dry.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
Yeah, I
Whenever
brought
you
that
were
up.
smoking, you don't like salty
Yeah,
stuff.
I
You're
don't like the
nuts.
salty.
Dude, salty stuff's the best whenever you're smoking
No,
weed.
dude, it dries my mouth out.
Potato chips? Oh, my God.
No, if I were to eat, like, Cheez-Its or potato chips, I feel like I'd have to drink, like, a gallon of water.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to be... I like to just, like, sip on something.
Yeah.
Like, water's the best.
I was
because
gonna say,
it's
honestly,
guilt-free.
I get the munchies for, like, fluids. Like, I just want to make...
Like sodas or something? Or like,
Huh?
Like soda? Or like coffee or tea? Or what do you mean?
Coffee, tea, a beer, just, like, something with an interesting flavor.
Yeah. It's just because the flavor profile of everything changes so drastically when you're
Yeah.
high.
Alright, so what do you want to talk about for this part 2?
I don't know.
Oh,
I can look at my phone and see what's on there.
I can see it in the future. Okay, so this is how we're going to do this podcast. We're going to release these episodes
Is
as
it two-parter?
as 2 parts.
Okay.
And it's just going to be common knowledge that part 1 is going to be a little less...
Ooh. A little more out there.
Yeah, it's going to be a little...
Okay.
it's going to be at the beginning of our session.
What if I... Okay. Okay. What if I don't want to rein it in, though?
I don't necessarily want to rein it in, but I think
see what
it's
you're
I
saying.
think it's a different level.
There's a different distinction there. After
Yeah.
you take a break and
Yeah.
come back
when
and
we
sit
come
down.
back to this.
Yeah. I guess so, a little bit.
All right. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Dude, I don't know. I gotta look... I told you. I gotta look at my phone, man.
Like, are we just now starting? Isn't there kind of
No,
that feeling of like, I know we just like went through so much, but don't you just
Oh,
don't you
we're
feel like
restarting.
we're just now getting into it? No,
I
you
don't
don't.
know.
You don't have that feeling.
I feel like the last time was good. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
it was
feel like
really good.
anytime you just get flowing and you're just having a conversation, that's what you just
The amount
don't
of
have a
tries
conversation.
this podcast has taken is annoying to me.
It's meant to be. I mean, you gotta keep trying.
Like this, like I would imagine, Dylan, right now that this would be something that we release, like the
Yeah,
content we gathered tonight.
Yeah.
But this is actually the third attempt at this.
In
Just
a way, yeah.
Just from different technical difficulties, different.
Yeah, true. We had 2 practice runs at this. And
Yeah,
now we
that's what
finally
I'm
got
saying.
it right.
Like, it's like now we're here. This
Yeah,
is
now
this
we-
is.
We finally got it going.
You pulling your notes up?
I was trying to. I feel like so none of this stuff is actually. It's weird because we've kind of talked about this stuff before.
Mhm.
but
You feel
what's
like we're
even-
going deeper than what we did on our original podcast?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. But like, I feel like like I don't remember it. You know what I mean? So it all seems fresh to me. It's like I've practiced it, but I don't remember it in a weird way.
Podcasting?
Yeah, no. These So I was looking at my notes.
Oh, okay.
So the other time, whenever we tried to do this,
Yeah.
it was right after oh my God! Wait, what was? What was it? What was the last time?
My mother-in-law's
yeah.
anniversary thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
After that, so everybody had a few alcoholic beverages, but we tried it and we just weren't good, and it didn't make sense, and I forgot all about it because I'd had too much to drink.
Yeah. And I mean, we learned to set up first. And then,
Yeah, I'll never make that mistake again.
yeah.
Either smoking or drinking or whatever before
Right.
you have all the equipment set up is it's no bueno.
Yeah,
It's
that's not a good thing to do.
No, definitely not. Dude, okay. So, I've asked you about this before, and like, I basically just want you to disprove it in a way. Like, I feel like I know your opinion on this, and I feel like you think exactly the same way as me.
Okay.
But okay, so simulation theory.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is, or like what its main concept is?
I feel like simulation theory, the idea of it is that we are... I feel like it's like it's trying to just say that we're a part of something bigger.
No, it's like it's basically like you're in the Matrix. Basically what it means is like your consciousness or your actual, I don't know. It's like
we're
your
in a
consciousnness
computer.
is in a computer.
Yeah.
Your consciousness is in a simulation.
Yeah, so we're kind of the same understanding.
Yeah. So
Okay, so what's your
tell
question
me
to
why
me?
that's not right, because I want you to tell me why it's not right. Like I have a biased opinion about this. Like I want you to disprove it.
You think it's not, but what is
feel-
your opinion right now? That you also
I feel
think
like
it's not
we're
right?
not in a simulation.
Yeah.
But I've heard people's arguments as to why we are, and I'm like, that's weird. Basically, one of the arguments is like, okay, so technology keeps progressing, and you keep making virtual reality and games better and better and better. and you get to a point where you can't distinguish reality from simulation. Okay, so once you're there, all you have to do is give somebody amnesia, basically, and then you don't forget you're in the game, and then the game is real life. So that's what simulation theory could be. So it's like, well, at the way we're going, do we ever get to that point? Are we not meant to get to that point? Is that impossible? Do we blow ourselves up before that ever happens? Like, but see, and then here's the other argument.
So is the question of simulation theory, are we real? Is that the question?
Not necessarily are we real, but is our consciousness in the place where it started? Like, basically, it's like, will you snap out of it once the game's over? Like, or do you get to go to a different one once you're done with this one? And it's like, that's kind of part of it. It's kind of like an explanation for the afterlife in a way, is like, we're not, you go to a different place after this one, essentially.
Okay.
Is what simulation theory tries to say. But see, here's the counter to that is, okay, so if this is so crazy, then it's like, well, what is outside of the simulation then? Like, what is, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, if it's this complicated now, it's like, holy cow, it's like, what is outside of that?
Yeah, if this isn't reality, then what is reality? Is that kind of the question?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just an interesting concept. I mean, I don't believe in it. I just feel like it's not.
So you think that this is as real as real is? Is that what you're saying?
Sure seems to be. But is that just because of your perspective?
So you're saying you don't think that we're like a computer simulation?
No, I hope not. Somebody was. I heard this on a podcast, and somebody on the podcast was like, "Well, I would believe it if like you looked at somebody's arms super closely and there were like little zeros and ones." And then it had to have been Rogan. I feel like it was Rogan and Eddie Bravo, and they were like, "Well, duh, Rogan's like, that's not the idea behind it. It's that you're in a computer program and like everything is simulated, like everything's made to look real." What are you doing? What are you looking for?
I'm just trying to like find some stuff that like could spark like what I think. I'm having a hard time articulating right now.
What do you? Well, I mean, just try to explain it to me. Try to talk yourself through it.
Like, I guess maybe I'll just start with Googling simulation theory. Is that
you're
wrong?
just trying to compose your.
I'm just trying to like figure out like what we're talking about here.
Oh,
yeah.
So you just want a more scientific explanation.
I just want to understanding, like make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Do you want to see what Webster's dictionary has to say about it? Is that what you're trying to get at?
What do we call this? Simulation theory? I'm just gonna Google that. We're just gonna start with the definition. I think that's important.
Definition of simulation theory. I don't even know what it would be. I hope I explained it semi-correctly.
A modern hypothesis with ancient roots.
Oh, interesting.
Suggests that we're actually living in an advanced digital construct, such as a computer simulation, that's overseen by some higher form of intelligence. I feel like that's a different. I feel like that's a different way to ask the question: is God real? Isn't that just a different name for God?
Well, okay. So there's this thing where people take a certain part of the Bible and they replace the word God with programmer.
Uh-huh.
And
it still makes sense.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of I guess it's kind of that question of like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like are we like
their thought is, well, technology gets better and better, so eventually you're going to have that, so it's like, why wouldn't we already be in it already? See, and there's this experiment I heard about, and it was basically like, okay, this is what you have to picture. There's a man in a chair in a room with nothing else in it. It's just white walls.
Okay.
And he wakes up, and in front of him is a person running an experiment. Okay, and they have a coin in their hand, and they say, I'm going to butcher this, and I'm not going to get it right, but I'll try to get the point across to you. They say, okay, we want you to guess how many times you've been here. Okay, so you have no memory of being in the room, and they say, we're going to flip a coin, heads or tails. If you're right, it'll stop. You'll be out of it. Okay, you'll get to exit the experiment. But if you're wrong, we're going to put you to sleep again, and you're going to have to do it again. So basically the thought is like, it would maybe take you a few times, right? That's what you think. But there would really be no way of knowing how many times the coin's been flipped.
Because you lose complete remembrance of the event.
So you don't remember how many times you got it wrong. You're just supposed to guess. Like, how many times you've been there. So that's kind of the thing with simulation theory is like, well, you don't know how many times the coin's been flipped.
Mm-hmm.
But if eventually it's going to happen, then there's no way of telling if it's happened before. I feel like
But
that's
why?
what they're trying to say.
I guess my question is why would that be what the experiment is?
Well, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
That's just how they tried to explain it.
I feel like the whole point of simulation theory is to be like, it's kind of that surprise moment, you know, where you're like,
where you're sucked out of it.
I feel like the heart of simulation theory is when you understand. You know, wouldn't in that example you gave the experiment, wouldn't beating the experiment be the moment that you understand that higher thing that you came from?
Oh, I see. If that was the test of the experiment,
yeah,
that's interesting. I don't think that was the case.
Wouldn't that be the end result?
I think basically what they were saying is people think no matter what, it's always your first time. But it's like, well, if it does reset, then there's no way of knowing how many times you've been there. It's kind of like a hyperbole for reincarnation in a way.
That's what, I kind of get that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And do you believe that or no?
No, not really. No, but that's kind of that kind of sounds to me like simulation theory in a way. It's like, well, you've been somewhere else, or you're gonna go somewhere else,
yeah.
So it's kind of like reincarnation. But yeah, I don't know where I heard that. I'm sure I heard that on another podcast, I would imagine.
So were you saying you don't believe in reincarnation?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Isn't it weird that people like don't talk about what they think?
Yeah. Well, most people, they just go, "Oh, hey, are you in my religion?" They're like, "Yeah." They're like,
Well,
cool,
I think
awesome.
everyone just assumes that everyone thinks like them.
Well, what I'm saying is people don't ever have a conversation about it because most of the time they only talk to people they agree with.
Yes. So I feel like.
So there's no point in having the conversation if we both have the same perspective, you know?
Yeah, but it's almost like if people who feel like they're so right would never have a conversation.
Well,
because they don't think it's worth it.
Some people are like naive enough to think they're super right, but at the same time the other person has another perspective, so that person thinks they're right, but they don't like understand that, you know? They're not like, "Oh, well, we both think we're right." They're like, "No, they're wrong. I'm right." And then that's how an argument starts instead of a discussion. It's like, I'm trying to prove my point, you're trying to prove your point, and there's no in between.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
like
something
so
that
a lot
you
of people
think don't
about.
avoid that.
Yeah.
Know? That's not very common. You basically an argument, if you both have different perspectives, like religion's a hot topic. You know, it's one of those things. It's like, don't talk about sex, politics, or religion at dinner parties or whatever. Have you ever heard that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it's like things you don't talk about, like it's like not proper to talk about the most interesting shit whenever you're around other humans. Talk about boring shit.
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
like
talk about your kids' soccer games that you don't give a fuck about.
Yeah,
talk about the sports.
I
talk
mean,
about the weather. Don't talk about real
what's
shit.
insane is I work for part of my job in customer service where I literally just repeat that cycle.
Oh no!
Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Horrible. How are you?
Yeah, and
have
you
a
know
nice
what's
day.
funny? What percent? Okay, so you
and it just fucking
listen,
plays on repeat all day long.
Here's a great question. So you work in drive-thru, right?
Uh-huh.
What percent of people say I'm not doing well?
I would zero. Or if they do, they joke about it, and it's awkward.
So how many people are lying?
Everyone.
Well, most people is what I'm saying. I'm sure there's some people out there who are like, "Man, it's a really freaking awesome day."
right.
Like, I'm just getting a coffee at Starbucks. And it's awesome.
But I don't know if I was talking to this about you, or talking to you about this, or my fiance. I feel like on social media, or like you just hear people talking.
I know where you're going with this.
And they're like, "Oh, I struggle with depression, or I struggle with anxiety."
Yeah.
And it's like, and then everyone's like supportive of that, like you're right. Like,
so they say a little blip on social media, and then they don't follow through. They don't help that person. Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I feel like I've seen so many people share I struggle with depression, and this is like why it's like hard for me to like get out there.
Yeah.
And then it's like you'll see someone in the comments be like, "Oh, you, like I also do," and then it's like, I feel like it's like this thing where like everyone fucking struggles with like depression and anxiety. Like that's the human condition, and we're just too scared to talk about it. That we don't realize that we're all having a similar experience.
Okay, so this is what I think. I think it's kind of like a roller coaster. I think you have ups and downs. I think everybody has ups and downs. Everybody goes through bouts of what, if you want to call it depression. I think some people just feel it worse and they call it depression. Some people have worse times.
That's what I'm saying.
And they go, I'm depressed. But everybody has good times and bad times.
Right.
You know? So it's like we're all experiencing the same thing. But it's a taboo subject to talk about. It's not okay to say, hey, guys, I'm not doing well right now. You know, not everything's hunky-dory.
So I guess that's a question that keeps coming to my mind, but maybe I've never voiced it, is do you think that humanity ever had this and we lost it? Or do you think we're just now finding it for the first time? This ability to talk to people and be like, oh shit, like I struggle with depression too. Or like,
I'm wondering
like
if
I'm not the only one.
I feel like there had to be cultures at some point that
conversed with each other. I feel like we don't
I
talk
feel like
to
maybe
each other.
like Native what comes to mind, this sounds like a weird example, but like Native Americans, like maybe they were like really honest with each other, but like I don't know. I wasn't there. Like I'm just kind of guessing. I'm kind of guessing just based off their lifestyle and the fact that they weren't like attached to physical objects, you know, and they were kind of like the land is for everyone, and you know, it's like.
Do you feel like you kind of hold that view now?
Okay, this is kind of the thought I had later on in life was like, it's so weird to go like, oh, those people are Mexican and those people are Canadian, but really all they are is just a different group of humans across
with similar traits.
No, listen, across an arbitrary line that someone drew on a map. Think about that.
Yeah.
They're like, think of them as just those guys over there.
Yeah.
And we put a name on them.
Yeah, because on a piece of paper,
yeah. Well,
that piece of land is different than this piece of land.
Well, here's the thing. They are different because they're an isolated group of people controlled by one, like, entity.
The government.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, they are different, but they're, like, conditioned to be different. But it's like, if nobody was in power and we were all just different tribes, if it was just, like, small groups of people.
Do you think we can move towards that?
No. I think
like, one leader over the entire world?
Well, I think that's, like, the end of... A lot of people
you think that's the end of the world?
A lot of people say that's, like, the end of the world. But I think it would be nice to just go, like, oh, everybody's just, like... We're all just people. Like, everybody's just here on the... We're just Earthlings. Like, I don't know what you would call it, but, like, oh, we don't even need to be like, hey, he's from here and you're from there. But see, here's the thing. You would have to have, like, who's in charge? What rules are we doing?
And I think,
you know?
Yeah, because if you look at even, like, you know, us to Europe, even though the United States disagrees maybe on a subject, we all agree that we like this way of life on some things, in all 50 states.
Well, see,
but, like, in Europe, it's different.
This is where it gets really weird, is whenever you decide, like, different rules based on, like, an area. So it's like a county has rules. Like, some rules can be different depending on the county. Some rules can be different based on the state. Dude, if we lived one state over, marijuana would be recreationally legal. But we live in...
Missouri.
I was going to say I'm giving away information about where we live in. Whatever. We're from Missouri. Midwest mentality. You know? Anyway, no, but, like, I mean, they're just... And think about this. They're, like, 60 miles to our east.
Yeah.
Or 70, whatever.
I'm not really telling people where we are.
Yeah, pretty well.
We're from St. Louis.
St. Louis. No, but like they're across the line,
right?
And then they have a different set of rules,
and they have
weird,
and they have a different experience of life because of
based on that rule.
Because like even people now and like kids over in states where marijuana is legal now are having a different experience, which is forming a different viewpoint on marijuana.
We talked about that earlier.
Simply because it's legal.
Well, you have to because you're seeing it.
Right.
Like, you're going to be more exposed to it. It's going to be more natural. It's going to be around you more. So, like, you have to address it. You know, you have to be educated on it.
So, do you think that, like, getting smarter is recognizing biases? Is that you recognize your own bias? Is that simply what...
Smarter in the sense of, like...
I guess just, like...
ego death, like...
When you talk... the death of the ego.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time. It's like, you got to just...
Do you think that the way to kill the ego is to understand your own bias and know that
I think it's self-reflection.
Like, do you think that some people don't realize that they believe what they believe because they're are where they are?
Yeah, they're conditioned to. Well, I mean, you got it from somewhere, but at the point where you go, so there is a moment in your life where you go, wait a minute, why do I think all this shit?
Yeah.
Wait, why do I have this opinion on this thing?
Yeah.
I've just been thinking this my whole life, but I never really thought about where this came from. And you go, all right, let me dissect that. Let me figure out if this is a good or a bad thing. Let me readjust. Let me look at this from someone else's perspective. You know, let me see this from a different point of view.
Do you think everyone does that?
No.
And why? So what
I
is
don't know.
the?
We keep coming back.
I know
to the
we
same
keep coming back
question.
to the same point.
But I can't.
Why?
It's almost an unanswerable question. It's do they want to?
Why are
Do they want to mirror what they're receiving, or do they want to flip it? You know.
Yeah.
Do you want to learn from it and change it, or do you just want to keep on doing it? And I can't explain why it goes one way or the other. That's something beyond me. I don't know.
That's crazy.
But there are some people that like end up just like their environment or just like their parents or whatever, or they
Yeah.
latch onto one thing and they just stay that one way.
So
And
do you
there's some
think
people that
we've-
change throughout their life?
Do you think we've beat this idea to death? Do we need to move on to something else?
I think it's one of the most fascinating ideas, so I don't think you really can beat it to death. But
Do you think that's why we started there? Like,
I
where
don't
else
know.
can we
we
take
We
this?
kind of came back to it,
Yeah, when you said,
but I'm not
when,
like mad at it.
when you said that phrase, and when you're like, we keep coming back to this point. Like I'm looking at the time. It's been 20 minutes, and we stopped like an hour or so the first
So
time.
like an hour and 20 total.
So, but I feel like we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, but we've been talking about the same thing in different ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. We just came back to the same thought, but I don't know.
So, do you want to talk about something else? I guess is my question.
Yeah, bro. No. Honestly, I just want to go wherever the conversation takes us. I don't
Okay.
want to even try to steer it.
You don't
let the universe
wow,
steer this
that's
conversation.
crazy.
I don't want to take it one way or the other. I just want to keep talking.
Okay.
We'll just keep rolling and.
I guess maybe like let's just put it this way. I feel like I need inspiration from you right now.
Okay, I'll help you. I'll guide you. Do you feel okay? Well, we'll start with this. Well, how are you feeling now? So earlier you described how you felt, and I think it was a pretty intense feeling.
Dude, that is how this conversation
Yeah,
started,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
That I was describing how I
So
felt.
so now we're kind of okay. So we're gonna come full
Holy
circle,
shit.
and we're coming full circle. We're coming back around. We're just gonna everybody calm down. Nick, how do you feel? Because I'm feeling okay, but like I don't feel the effects of it really that much anymore, but still a little bit. So
Really?
I just want to know how you feel.
I feel like I'm still like I would definitely describe myself as I'm still high. Like, would you say you're high right now?
Barely.
When did we smoke? See, that's a big thing for me.
We always, dude. In the future, we are gonna keep track of
How long it's been?
when we started the podcast.
I
or
mean,
what
I
time we
guess
smoked,
we've recorded for like an hour and a half. So we smoked an hour and a half ago.
plus the break in between. I don't know how long that was.
Shit,
So
yeah.
it's
so you
the.
think it's been like 2 hours?
Do you think we stopped for 40 minutes?
Maybe like 2.
Okay, time
1
out.
hour.
I think
45
I got
minutes.
here around 7. It's 9:40. It's 9:24. I cannot even read. It's 9:24. No, wait. I got here at 5:30. No, 5:40. Why did I say 7? Oh, we've been here forever. We're in a time loop.
We've been here for 4 hours.
No.
Is that what
we've
you're
only recorded an hour and 20, you idiot. No,
How long have we been here?
I'm sorry. No, I was saying we talked for a long time before we even started this.
That's maybe I'm getting lost in the fact that this conversation started outside.
I was gonna say, yeah, we did a lot of things before we even started this, and then took a long break. So I don't know, but I'm gonna suck on a sunflower seed.
Okay.
Salty. I need water or beer. I need something. I'm parched.
Think you need to leave and go get one of those two?
Nah, I can keep going.
Are you out? Do you have access to either of those things?
No.
We can stop.
No. I don't want to stop.
What do you want to talk about?
Man, you want me to lead you, to guide you? All right, I'll guide you. I'll hit you with something.
Yeah, just ask
I'll
me.
find something. I got so many thoughts going on back here. I'll figure something out. Okay, hey, so here we go. Everything happens for a reason. So today, I went to the store and I got that adapter for our headset. And I got just those basic headphone jack converter to 1/4 inch so that we could actually both have a headset because I lost them. Anyway, I got a Beatles album whenever I was there, and I watched this documentary the other day. And did I talk to you about this documentary?
You did.
I did briefly. I talked to you about this. Dude, I watched the documentary on the Beatles, and it was way before my time, obviously. And I was just like, I didn't realize what it was like whenever they came over here and how it shifted. It really was like the soundtrack of a change in a generation of humans. Like, these people hadn't heard like this type of music before, and I couldn't grasp that because I wasn't there. Like, I wasn't old enough to really understand what they meant to like so many people, but they had crowds that had like never been drawn before. Like, legitimately, they were like filling up like baseball stadiums full of people. And anyway, this is the point I was trying to get to, is they were like singing. Okay, there was this concert they were supposed to have in Alabama, and it was supposed to be segregated, and they just go, well, we're not gonna play
if it has to be segregated.
If it's segregated, like, we want everybody to be with everybody.
Yeah.
And like at the time, I think it was like 19. I think they came over to America first in like 1964 or 1962. I can't really remember. I want to say like 1964. Anyway, they were like, yeah, no, we're not for segregation. Like, yeah, they were from England, but like the civil rights movement was in like full swing, and they were like, yeah, we're not for discrimination, and they stood up for that. And like,
So are you
I
against?
never realized that aspect of them, like how much of a trailblazer they were, and just like doing the right thing. You know, they were like these really good people. You know.
Are you against listening to a Beatles song?
No, definitely not. Here, actually, you know what?
Do you have the jack? Do you have the aux cord?
I can make this work. Just give me 2 seconds.
So here's how I think this will need to work. For like copyright reasons, we'll say what we're gonna listen to, and then we'll just have to talk about it afterwards. And as you listen to the podcast, if you want to kind of know where we're coming from, then pause right here and listen to the song yourself.
Yeah, we'll tell you when. Oh yeah, just we'll have you listen to it.
Hey, we listened to Abbey Road by the Beatles. If you want to give it a listen.
Of like what you're really listening to changes.
Right.
You know, like you're picking out individual sounds. You like focus on one specific sound, and you're like, oh, that's a cool sound. But like sometimes whenever you listen to it, you're just like, oh, this is all mashed together. This is just a blended up mess.
Yeah, so like that's like one of my favorite things to do recently is to take some cannabis in some way or another and just listen to music, because I just feel like it's like an onion.
So what we listened to first was "Come Together" by
Yeah.
the Beatles off of. Did you say it was Abbey Road?
You said that.
I think yeah, Abbey Road, and yeah, I mean, like, what a cool thing! Like, that's what they put out there was "Come Together."
Right.
Like, hey, we all gotta come together. We gotta find peace, and that's all they were for, you know. And I feel like that kind of died with a group of people. I've always wondered that. I always wondered, like, where did the hippies go? Like, why did that movement not continue to go on if that was such a positive thing?
Yeah.
Like,
What do you think the answer is?
Peace and love. I think it was the 1970s anti-drug movement. I think it was the sweeping psychedelic act of 1970, whatever.
Do you
You
think,
know, they
think that
took it all
happened for a
away.
reason though? Like, do you think we weren't ready?
The conspiracy is that the government was trying to control us, Nick.
But, like,
they
think
didn't
about
want
it-
us to be enlightened. They
think
didn't want
of-
us to be smart. They didn't want to miss us.
Think about it in a positive light. Kind of think about it this way.
Okay, sure.
Think about it. Think about it like this. We mentioned earlier, like, if you found cannabis when you were 13,
Ooh, interesting.
it would have been a negative.
Right.
What if, like, compared to the universe, what do you, like, do you think that...
Like, humanity wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, humanity wasn't ready.
You mean, like, it's going to be nationally legal soon? And
Yeah, like,
that's something
think
that
bigger.
changed.
Like, don't think about, like, this movement that died. Think about the universe as a whole. Like, think about it
So are you saying,
coming too soon.
Do you think it's an ebb and flow? Do you think it's like a up and down? Do you think it's like everything's constantly improving?
I don't necessarily think it's an up and down. I think it was, like, starting to come up, but the world wasn't ready for it. Like, I think,
I got you.
like, just like
I
we
don't
talked
know.
about, like, if you find cannabis before you're 13, and
So we were in our
and it
teenage
delays
years
you. Yeah,
as
it's
a
like the
nation.
universe. I
Yeah.
don't even mean the nation. I mean, like, as a universe.
Hmm.
The universe was too young.
See,
in
here's the
its
thing.
development.
Here's the thing. People have been using it for thousands of years.
I know. It's kind of like we reset.
See, that's what I was saying. Is
I-
like an ebb and flow?
I think it's weird that, like, when you mentioned Native Americans,
Mm-hmm.
like, when I started getting into cannabis, I started doing, like, some research on, like, ancient use,
Ooh,
and, like,
cool.
the first article I found said that the Native Americans always respected the teaching plants, and I was like, wow, that's just like an it's like
the concept that they're like, hey, this is like something for us,
yeah,
and they're curious, their curiosity
and
about
just
it.
like the fact that, like, that knowledge came from, like, they considered it a teaching plant,
But
you
dude,
know.
there is
Like, that's wild.
there's a theory about how the use of mushrooms contributed to the development of the human brain and how quickly it developed.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called or who it's by, but I've heard that before. And I was like, huh.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's any evidence to back that up. I don't think that's a commonly held belief by a scientist even. I think it's just a theory by some person. But I just heard it before. I don't know if that's like, I don't think it's commonly accepted by the scientific
I
community.
just, like, I think of the universe. I don't know. I feel like everything happened. Like I
For
think
a
everything happens
reason,
for a reason. I think
significant.
everything's connected. I think events that take place in other parts of the world that we're not physically.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's the butterfly effect. I guess that's
Like
what I'm
everything affects
describing.
everything.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I have a quick thought on that. Is I've heard somebody say once that the negative things you do have more of a negative impact than you think, and the positive things you do have more of a positive impact than you think. So like the energy that you put out into the universe or the way you live your life affects people much more than, like, if one person was just super positive and was projecting nothing but like good things and love, and they put that out there, that's more powerful than that person even realizes, because of the amount of people that interact
It's
with you.
touching with the butterfly effect.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can start a wave of good feeling, if you just it grows and it multiplies. You affect more people if you're positive.
So are you saying, like, if I meet someone out in the community and we kind of have, like, let's say, like, this would be a common thing that you have commonly, but not necessarily, like, with someone all the time, is, like, road rage? Like, would you say, like, once a day or once every other day in driving you experience, like, a road rage situation?
So the interesting thing about my job is, like, I'm doing a ton of driving. Like, I'm driving all the time.
Right.
And, like, sometimes people will cut me off.
Yeah.
And I won't flip them off. I'll just, like, give them a friendly wave.
Yeah.
I'm really polite. And it's like, I think
And
you
you're
just
saying
doing that
might change like them
what
going
they
home
do.
and then
Yeah.
like being nice to their
Yeah.
kid rather than being a dick to
Yeah,
their kid.
it might not necessarily just translate to them being nice to other motorists in traffic. Maybe maybe me not being mean to them was the one thing that didn't make them snap at their kid that day.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
It's just like
And then
your positivity.
because that kid received like positive affection
Then-
from their
then-
parent,
then
they go to
they-
school and they
yeah,
like help a
yeah.
friend on the playground.
Yes, your positivity just grows
Yeah.
and it multiplies, and like people don't realize how their negativity affects
Is
people.
doing the same thing.
Yeah. Like basically, the thought was like everything you do is much more significant than you think it is. Like every action you make is like much more powerful than we give it credit. We try to minimize your impact on other people
Yeah, for sure.
and the chain of effects that makes, and it just keeps sending out. It's just, I mean, it's the old school thought of like karma. It's just like put out good feelings, you get good feelings back. It's kind of like if you want to fix the world, if you want to change the world, if you want to change things, you got to change yourself.
See, this is where I think my worldview differs from karma. Is I want to put out positive energy,
Not expecting it back.
and not expect
Well,
it to
that's
return.
good. I mean, yeah, that's yeah.
But do you think even people who have that, I feel like a lot of people have
Okay.
this positive
Okay.
energy if you're positive,
Here-
and that kind of like, that machine never gets started.
Here's what you
Because everyone's waiting for the other person to be nice.
Here's what people should get to the point of is, hey, I want to put this positive energy out into the universe so that the next person will put that positive energy back to the next person,
Yeah.
not back to me.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I hope they send that to the next guy down the line.
But that's what I'm
That's
saying.
what you want.
I literally read that on Twitter the other day. This person was like, you handle your shit and like be nice to people, and then I will.
Yeah, everybody wants to be the
last link.
They wait.
Yeah.
Like the little man.
Yeah.
Like not the bigger man.
Yeah,
the littler man is what I was trying to say.
They want everyone else to do the work.
They're like, well, if they were nice to me, I'd be nice
Yeah.
to them. Well, it's like, you idiot.
You have to be the
If you
start
were
of
nice to
that.
them, they'd be nice to you, you
Right.
dummy.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
What
for
are you
sure.
thinking?
That's why I don't know. Like, I just think there's different levels,
Of emotional intelligence. And
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, some people are like, oh, I'm nice to people so they can be nice to me. And then I think a level above that is, no, I'm nice to people so they can be nice to people so they
Yeah.
can be nice to people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
I think that's taking that golden rule like a step further.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and I agree with that. And it's sad that people don't get to that point.
I know.
And we've kind of touched on that before. I feel like, but
And
we
yeah,
we
because
came
it's
back.
like, it's
we
what.
came back to that point.
I guess, like, the question is what pushes you to that, that point. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope that maybe if I engage in it enough, it radiates to other people,
I'm trying it.
You are?
Yeah, you gotta try. And here's the other thing. Just like at a certain point, you start like doing nice things, and then you like want to tell people you're doing nice things,
Mm.
and then you're like, shit, I can't tell people I'm doing nice things, or that defeats the purpose of me doing nice things. You just have to put that
Yeah.
positive energy out in the universe, and you
Yeah.
gotta let it see.
Yeah, 'cause
Just don't even talk about it.
And
Just
I
don't
think
even-
about that. Like, you don't be nice for the credit, because
Yeah,
then
don't
it
boast about it. Like, then you're
defeats
defeating the whole
purpose.
point. It's like me going, I am so enlightened.
Is
I am
it
so
weird that
enlightened.
I think it's crazy that we have similar ideas?
I think a lot of that is getting to the same conclusion.
Like,
from,
I think...
Would you say that you recently formed that opinion, or you've always had that opinion?
I feel like I've always had it, but maybe I'm understanding it better. But I like in a way that I mean that is that, like, whenever I would look at other people, I was like, oh, there's no way they think that way.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I'd look at him, I'd be like he's my brother, he's my best friend, but like there's no way that he
Has
thinks
this exact same thought.
thinks
or similar.
even this similarly to me was just crazy. And I don't know if that's bad or wrong, or wrong, but
Okay, so that kind of brings up a thought of like, does everybody want to be nice, but they just don't have the ability to be nice based on circumstance? So like, is basically, like, what I'm saying is there a right way to be? Like, that's kind of hard to say.
yeah.
Like it's like, oh, be nice to everybody.
But do it this
But
way.
it's like, well, that's like, you got to define that, or like everybody's definition of nice is different. so-
Right. Yeah, because I think some people accept that status quo of, like, be nice to people when they're nice to you.
Yeah.
And if they're rude to you, then give that back. I think some people honestly believe that
Yeah.
and throw back negative energy.
True.
But I think that's where it starts, is whenever you can get past that. Well, if they give me negative energy, I want to give them negative energy. It's like
It's the easiest thing to do.
it's like yeah, and you've mentioned
It's like
that before.
thinking before you speak, you know?
But
It's like
that
thinking before
raises
you act.
that raises the question, in my opinion, is if we think it's something we ought to do, why do we not? You know,
Because it's not easy.
because I know I'm
I
guilty
mean,
of it. Even though I have these thoughts that I should be nice to people,
You catch
and
yourself.
I catch
doing it,
myself
and then, like,
that knee-jerk
see,
reaction
okay.
of like, "Fuck you, you cut me off
so,
in traffic."
So here's my thought about that: is the first step is recognizing yourself doing it. Okay. The second step is recognizing it, and then reflecting on yourself doing it. The third step is stopping yourself from reacting that way the first time. You know. So like it takes steps. You gotta like recognize that you're doing something wrong. Then like you slowly get better and better at it, and then finally you get to the point where someone yells at you and you go, "It's okay. What's going on?"
So you're saying
know?
it's like it starts with recognizing it after you did it, but
So,
it
like,
turns into
At
recognizing
one point-
it before you did
At
it.
one point you're gonna yell back, and then in the next point you're gonna like yell back, but then you're gonna think about it later on. You're gonna go, "Shit, I should have just freaking not yelled back. I should have been more nice." And then further on down the road, you're gonna be like, "Oh, like here we go. This is the scenario. Take a second. They're not yelling at you because it's you. They're yelling at you because they're mad about something." It's like, all right, here we go. Now I'm gonna help them. Now I'm gonna ask them, what's going on, and then you do, and then you're like, oh, I'm there now. Like, I fixed that thing.
Yeah.
Now it's on to the next thing. Now what's the next thing I'm gonna get better at? What's the next thing I'm gonna learn how to do?
Can I throw another song at you?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, we listened to the instrumental version of The Coma by King's Kaleidoscope, if you want to check it out.
Let's so like with cannabis use.
So complicated.
You've mentioned before that you like to do a lot of it frequently, but then you also
Okay.
like to flip that and
Yeah.
like go long periods of time without using it. Explain that. Is that true? Did I describe something accurate, or am I revealing too much information?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I love the quote. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like test it out. Do some, explore your thought, bring back what you learned, apply it to your life, figure out if you're doing it too much. Is you letting it cutting into things you need to do? Are you getting lazy? Is it clouding your judgment? Are you becoming dependent on it? Are you using it as a coping mechanism? Are you doing it to escape responsibility? Whatever it is. Are you using it for the right reasons? Are you doing it and then going for a walk and just really enjoying the day and relaxing? Like,
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, that's what people don't say is like, hey, it's all right if you use it a little bit here and there. If you're doing it, listen, this is what I'm saying. There's a spectrum. If you're doing it all day, every day, and you're not doing anything
Yeah.
with your life, then yeah, you're doing this thing and it's great and it's relaxing and you're getting addicted to feeling good, but you're not applying that to your life. So I feel like you're just wasting it.
Yeah.
You're not seeing.
You're not
You're not
seeing the
learning
forest
from
through
it.
the trees.
Yeah, you're not learning from it. You're just
Yeah.
using it as a coping mechanism for pain
You're
or for life
abusing
or
it for
whatever.
sure. For sure.
And here's the thing. I've done it. You hit a rough patch. You have some. You just keep smoking it. You're like, oh, this makes me feel better. Oh, it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better. And then what happens is you go, oh shit, I'm doing this too. Like, come on, man. Face the fears. Face the demons. Go figure some shit out. Do some personal growth. Like, figure out what's going on.
I like that.
That's the way I look at it.
I like that.
It's like you gotta grow.
But don't you feel like there are a lot of people
That
out there
abuse it?
who abuse it daily?
Of course, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's sad to me because I don't think that they see all the benefits. And I've talked about that before too. Like, I think that some of the greatest benefits of cannabis are only available to those who don't want to prostitute it.
Yeah, I feel like if you smoke weed on a regular basis and you're an asshole, I don't understand you. Like, I don't understand your mind.
Right. It's like you don't appreciate.
You're a different thing than me. If like you do this thing and then like all of a
And
sudden
you're not
you go
able
be,
to like
you go be
appreciate
an a-hole.
people.
Like
Yeah.
I can't get behind that at all.
So I want to talk about like how you use it, and like I'll talk about how I use it. Like what are ways you like to use it?
Okay. So I really got into so in 2015 I was like not a healthy person, okay? Basically in the sense of mentally, physically, emotionally, I went through a really tough time in my life, like a real transition period, kind of like trying to figure out what is going on thing. You know, I moved from one place to another, and I was just like, what am I doing? And I was like, I gotta fix something. I gotta improve something in my life. Like, what are you doing? You know? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get in good shape. Like, I'm gonna become healthy. And that's kind of how I found Rogan. Was I was like, all right, I want to figure out like how to slowly change. This is kind of the way I looked at health. Was, all right, you gotta slowly change stuff over time. Like going on a crash diet that you're not gonna stick to. That's bullshit.
Right.
Like, that doesn't do anything. Like, okay, think about it basically. How much sleep are you getting? Are you getting enough sleep to give you energy to work out, to eat, to make the right decisions, to eat right? Okay, you got your sleep down. Now you're sleeping more. That's good. Now, what about water? Like, oh, you're drinking soda? Stupid. Eliminate soda. Get rid of that. So you don't drink soda anymore. You're drinking more water. You're like, damn, I'm drinking this water. I feel so good. Like, now I'm like, all right, you know what? I feel good. I feel better. I have this energy. I'm getting all this sleep. It's like, all right, so how do I eat right? And you're like, all right, so obviously vegetables and stuff. And then you just like, you listen to people talk. That's what I did. That was how I found Rogan. I was like, all right, diets, like, you know, whatever. What's the right food to eat? What's the right philosophy here? Did a bunch of research, figured out how to do that, found intermittent fasting, changed my life. And at the same time, I found martial arts, and I went from 230 pounds to I'm 178 pounds now. Or 235 in 2015, now I'm 178 today. So, like, and like that was a long journey, and I gained weight and I lost weight and I gained weight and I lost weight. But what I did that's different from most people is I changed my lifestyle. I changed my philosophy about eating. I thought about it to the deepest level, and I was like, hey, what makes sense? Like, how are we supposed to eat? You know, like, what am I supposed to do? What makes me feel good? Really test your body, because everybody's different. Everybody should be on a different diet. You gotta figure out what works for you, and you gotta do research. You gotta listen to shit, you know, and you gotta like actually figure it out. And then okay, this is what kind of led me to that. And then I found exercise, and I started running, and I actually trained for a marathon for a while. Me and my sister were gonna run it, but she ended up having like a pretty significant injury, and it, you know, made it to where she couldn't run. So basically, I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna do it either, you know. Like, totally not her fault. Like, just it sucked that it happened to her. Yeah. But we stopped training. Anyway, at that time, at the time, I was using cannabis before I ran, and what was interesting was like, I would like smoke it, and then I would go run, and I just felt like I had no, like, already it eliminates your anxiety, you know, but like I just
running or cannabis?
Both.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. They both kind of work in tandem with each other, and I was just like, man, this is so great. Like, the sun is on me. I'm running. I'm getting this exercise. I feel so good. I have all this energy. Like, I'm thinking, I'm meditating while I run, and I did a lot of thinking. Like, it wasn't necessarily like training my body at the same time. I was like training my mind. And I was just like, oh man, I'm just gonna run and meditate and like think about stuff, and like just think about your breath, and I don't know. That was just like one of the positive things I did with it. And then, I would use it at night to relax, decompress, and I don't think that's bad. But if you're doing it all day long,
Right.
if you're doing it to escape responsibility or whatever, that's when it becomes a problem.
So do you think using it daily is wrong?
I think it's possible if you're kind of being responsible with it, but in my personal opinion,
Every once in a while, take
what's
a break
best
and
for
not do it
me
daily.
is I take like a month off, take 2 weeks off.
A month?
Yeah, dude, take that. And see, it's not hard. You just take time off. You
Yeah.
just go, hey, let me take a step back. Let me reset my body.
You don't feel
let me
like
get back to
a month
baseline.
is like a big step. Like
No,
what? Like what?
I mean-
Like what would be like a long time? You're like that. Like that's too long.
I mean, as long as you want, it's up to you. Is what I'm
Okay,
saying. Like,
okay.
if you feel like you need to take 6 months off of it, if you don't like the way it makes you feel at the time, don't do it. Come back to it. And here's the thing: it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, it affects some people really negatively.
Yeah.
Some people it just doesn't work with. It makes you feel like you can't function. You feel super Here's the thing about paranoia, though, is like sometimes that paranoia is a good thing. That paranoia sometimes is the lessons you need to learn.
Yeah.
It's the things you need
It's
to
like
focus
why?
on.
It's like why do I think that?
I've
Or like why am I worrying about that?
Rogan's-
And then you kind of figure it out.
Rogan had this expression that sometimes weed is like it takes a spotlight and it shines it on one of your insecurities in the back of your mind that you're trying not to think about. And he's like, wait a minute, bitch, what is this? Like, what is that back there? Let me see what's going on. What do we got in here?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
So do you
you don't
think
want to face this.
do you think some
oh,
people
let's
are
think about
scared of
this.
that?
Oh, yeah. Some people go, I don't want to think about my flaws. I don't want to think about that. Bury that shit. Don't improve that. No. Put it in the back.
So do
We're
you
not going to admit that. We're going to leave
Do
it
you think
back
then
there.
they stay away from cannabis, or that they somehow use
That's
cannabis
what-
to bury it?
No. I'm saying they don't use cannabis because cannabis goes, hey, bitch, like think about this stuff.
yeah,
like you need to
okay,
fix this. You're being mean. Like be nice, and you're like, no. Don't think about it. You're fine.
Yeah.
They're not killing their ego. They're letting their ego make that decision. They're like, no. You're awesome. You're so good. You're like everything you're doing is great. Keep doing what you're doing. That's what it is. It's keeping the ego alive instead of killing it, and that's what weed does. It kills your ego.
And you're a pretty big proponent of that, killing
Your ego.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it with weed. You can do it with whatever. It's just like learn, be around people that don't have an ego, that don't think all about themselves, that are more for everybody else than themselves. I just feel like that's such a good trait to have. But who at the same time, who am I to say that's a trait that people should have?
I know.
Maybe some people go, hey, having a giant ego makes you successful. Because it's true.
I
Maybe
hate
it
that
does.
every time, like, you kind of get, like, lost down that track
Yeah.
of...
Where you think you got it
the-
figured out?
Then it's like, well, hold on, like,
Yeah.
then I kind of slip back into...
Well,
now I think that my way is right, and you kind of go back into this bigotry
So that's what you have to do. You have to keep going, hold on, I don't know. That's just what I think.
and expand your ideas.
It's like, okay, well, that's what we think right now. Keep learning. That's the thing. Your ideas should always, like, I feel like my ideas are always changing. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this is the information.
But
I
it
got
is
now.
weird how you kind of reach that point where you're like, and you don't do it on purpose, and you might not stay there long, but like I feel like when people expand, their ideas and their minds, they kind of reach this point where they're like, okay, I'm at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
But it's like, you
yeah.
always got to keep climbing.
That's what I
like,
was saying.
Yeah.
The minute you say I'm enlightened, you're not.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm enlightened. I'm so, like, I'm at peace with everything. I'm so good. Like, I got everything figured out. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You gotta figure. No, you don't. You saying you do,
Yeah.
and you saying
And
you do,
and
you
still
don't.
need to work. So do you think that the journey, like, would you one of those people who, like, the journey is more important than the destination? Like, is that a phrase that you would resonate with?
That's a hard way to put it. I would say that your goal should be to improve your mind, body, and spirit every day, and you just keep working and you keep growing and you keep, I think that's what you should do.
I feel like
you mean like eternity, or you mean like the end of your life?
No, I'm
What
just
do you mean,
saying
the
like
conclusion?
that. If like you're saying every day you get better and better,
Mm-hmm.
then getting better and better is more important to you, not the goal. Like if someone's like, I want to have
got
6-pack
you.
abs,
I got you.
and
See, but that's,
then
yeah.
it's like once they reach that, okay, like now what? It's
Okay,
like so if you use
all right.
like your
All right, so
compare your mind
yeah,
as a muscle
yeah,
that
yeah.
you're wanting to
This-
exercise.
All right, so here's what you do. You set a goal. Okay, you're like, I want to get to this. That's okay. Do it. Okay, but as soon as you get there, don't be content with that. Set the next goal. Figure out the next thing you're gonna do.
Okay.
Are you gonna improve the thing you just improved upon, or are you gonna look at a completely different facet of your life and decide to improve that at that
Do you
time?
think that can ever be frustrating though? Like people feel like they're never good enough.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can kind of flip
Oh,
that
yeah.
into the negative. It's like, well, shit,
See,
like, now I need to be even better.
You can look at that both ways.
And
There's
you're
some,
constantly working.
listen, there are some people that think they're never good enough, and then on the other side of the spectrum, there's some people that they're like, look at this shit I made. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Look at how good I am. You know, there's two ends to
Do you
that.
think it's healthy then to take a rest? Like,
I think it's hard to see from the outside whether or not what you're doing is bullshit or not, or if it's authentic or not. Like, sometimes you think you're making something that's completely great, but it's absolute dog shit. And it's like, in the moment, you think it's good, but, like, you're not looking
you
at
have
it
to
from an
have
outside
that outside
perspective.
Wow.
Bam.
Yeah, that outside perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
I'm just getting all my thoughts out there.
that's crazy.
Man, this has been fun. That's
Yeah.
all I know, is I've just had a really good time.
Was this...
This was my goal, man. This is what I wanted to do. Like, if
Mhm.
I could picture the perfect...
So, like, when we
first
first
podcast,
started
this is it.
when we first started podcasting,
This is what I
this
wanted
is
to
more
do.
what you were thinking
Yeah,
of.
but I could never do it. And then also,
What do you think was limiting us?
I think a lot of it was me not... I couldn't be honest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was I couldn't be honest because, look here, so this is what we're doing with this podcast, and you're so far into it, but I'm going
Yeah.
to explain it to you. Is, look, we're from an area where we are kind of afraid... I'm afraid of certain people knowing my opinions about certain things. There's certain members of my family that may think I think one way, but I think the complete opposite of what they actually think. But we're going to put this out into the universe. We're going to just, like, plant a seed, see if it grows. If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, then it's fine. It's just something I can look back on and, like,
Yeah.
a journal or a diary. You said that.
I said diary that day.
You said that, and I was like...
Journal
that-
might be
that-
better.
Yeah, that really resonated with me, because I was like, if that's all it is, cool. If it turns into something else, cool. Like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not counting on it. But, like,
Yeah.
if it did, that'd be awesome. So, the anonymity... There you go. That's that word.
Gives you the ability.
Yeah, it
to
gives
not
me the
bank-
ability.
to not
Like, you don't.
put-
I haven't disclosed who I completely am, and we're not gonna put this out to our family. We're not gonna force people we know to look at it. You know, and it's like, if people like it, they like it, and if they don't, you don't. Whoever's listening to this, if there's one person listening to it and they learned anything from this, that's all I wanted from it. If
Yeah.
literally one person had a slightly positive effect from hearing this conversation, it did its goal. If it hits 10 people, what's the difference between 1 and 10? I mean, if
What if it hits no
if
one? Do you still feel satisfied? Is the question.
Sure, why not? I mean, yeah, man. If no one listens to it, it's just me.
Because
you know,
either way, it
I can
affected
look
me
back
and
on
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I see what you're saying.
And in a way, it puts some positivity out into the universe somehow.
Yeah.
That I'm for sure.
Even if it was like to sustain your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even if it was from maybe 10 years down the road, I gotta listen to this and it makes me feel good in that moment.
Yeah.
Maybe that's enough.
For sure. For sure.
Dude, I just want to say that, like, yeah, this is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. I feel like it went awesome. I don't
Do you
know.
want to wrap it? Are we at a closing?
I can feel it. Like, I feel like we should. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I
Okay.
feel like we should. Unless you want to keep going.
No,
man,
I
I'm
kind of feel like
totally
we
down.
hit this moment.
I feel like we kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it naturally
landed.
came to the point where I wanted it to,
I
and
feel
we
like
kind of came back to the same point we started on, and I
Yeah.
like that. And
I think while we were up in the air, I was nervous that we like weren't on the same flight, but it's like now we hit the runway at the same time. Like,
We're
okay,
good.
like I have
We're
peace
good.
with this.
that's
yeah.
the other thing about it, man. That's the thing. That's the last thing. That's one of the last things I'll say is like, man, the crazy thing about weed is you're getting a zen. You're getting like,
Yeah.
you're just like flowing and you're like vibing off of somebody else.
I know you mentioned that before. Like, do you think I've been higher than you this whole podcast?
Probably, yeah.
That's
But-
crazy.
But I mean, like, I can imagine where you're at because I've been there.
Yeah.
So like, it's not
have
too
you
far off
lost?
from me.
Have you lost the ability to get there, or does it just take more for you?
It's never the same as whenever you first start doing it. If you keep doing it enough, it'll never be the same. That's why I'm gonna try to take a really, really long break and come back to it and see if I can get that
okay,
initial.
so it's like
boom.
it's like you enjoy it more
Yeah,
whenever you can
yeah.
take that far off.
Yeah, kill the tolerance to it after a while, you know, and then also like really reflect on what you've learned
Yeah,
while
maybe
you're killing that
maybe
tolerance.
maybe that's what that girl meant when she said saturate the endocannabinoid system. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe
No, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's what more she means.
Yeah.
Is that it's like it's so saturated that you don't get the full benefits anymore, and you need to give it a rest.
So I've decided.
let
for-
off the throttle.
So I've
like you
decided
mentioned.
for the next month, the only time I'm gonna smoke weed is when we do this podcast. That's it.
Okay, the month
So-
of February.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go.
I like it.
Midwest mentality. Fuck you. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.